Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Mysteries and Disappearances video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do another entry here. This one yet again based on one of your new suggestions. This one having to do with the mysterious lumberjack or mysterious man that ended up coming out in a disaster and then ended up disappearing right afterward. Overall, this was a pretty bad disaster, but if not for this man, whoever this mysterious man was, it could have been much, much worse. But to this day, there's still very little information associated with his appearance and then subsequent disappearance. So I'll try to present everything that I can here and then go ahead and share more information afterward if it comes out. Who knows? Because apparently this also ties in to other similar disasters. In fact, you're looking at a representation of it here. It's known as the magical lumberjack from the Belva Mine Disaster. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that man here. And then once again, I would love to hear what your own thoughts and comments are on this too. So here's what occurred. The actual disaster, the Belva Mine Disaster, occurred back in December 1945 there at a location called the Belva Mine, there at a place, at a city called 4 Mile there in Kentucky. So those of you that live on the local level there, I know it's a little bit older, like when it comes to being 1945, but who knows, maybe you might have more information still from stuff that's been passed down over the years about what occurred to these survivors and the disaster and then what they essentially saw there. But unfortunately, yeah, there was a huge explosion that occurred there at that Belva mine. As you can imagine, anything involving explosions and mines, it leads to a lot of calamity. In fact, there was a good number of miners that unfortunately ended up being killed right during that explosion, but there were some survivors. Unfortunately for them, at least at the beginning, it was the worst case scenario. They survived, but they were trapped. They were trapped in an area where they couldn't have much access to anything. They couldn't get out. There was some rescues that were going to be done, but who knows obviously how long those take ahead of time. No one knows as far as that, if it even is something that could be done afterwards. So imagine being like that, trapped deep within a mine, and then you're there and you know that you have a limited time before things get really, really serious. But as it turns out, something almost magical happens, and here's what occurs. And this has apparently been explained not just in a newspaper, but also through some interviews. So here's where it gets almost like on a mystical side. Somewhere down there along the way, there was a wall, like a rock wall. And the survivors, the ones that were there again trapped deep within the mine, stated that a door, an actual door, opened up from the rock wall itself. You have to think of it almost like something from a movie, like a CGI effect. It's a regular looking rock wall, and then all of a sudden a door opens up on it. And then lo and behold, there was a man that was dressed as a quote unquote lumberjack or a telephone lineman. So you can imagine him having those kind of gritty looking clothes, the clothes that are usually involved for dirty activities or rough activities and so on. He just casually stepped out from that rock wall door. Again, something that just appeared almost out of thin air. And then he stepped out and he started reassuring everyone, I'm sure much to their shocked surprise at what they were witnessing, that there was that they would be okay, that there was going to be a rescue that would happen soon, and he was basically reassuring everyone there. What's interesting is that apparently past that magical door with this magical lumberjack, there was a well-lit room inside. It was hard to say, though, like what it entailed, but apparently it was very, very bright. I'm sure it must have been even brighter considering the dark areas there of the mine themselves. The miners may have had some kind of, I don't know, equipment with them, some light equipment, but you could think that they would also be conserving that at that time. But in any case, having a door open with any kind of light behind it must have been very, very bright. In fact, they considered it a well-lit room, and there was the man. And so once he reassured them, he went back through that door, happened to just close it behind him, just like you would any other type of door. And then that was it. Poof, he was gone. 100% gone. never ever to be seen again. So, what was this mysterious man and his disappearance, this quote unquote magical lumberjack? Well, nobody really knows to this day. There was nothing in terms of these men finding out exactly who he was, and apparently he never visited any of them afterward. I was mentioning this though, some of the theories, and if you even call it that, it's almost like very, very loose theories. But there's this. Apparently, there's a theme associated with underground bases, miners being in predicaments, and then these underground bases having people, if you could call them that, go visit them. It's the same thing. Like they go out there and they visit them just to make sure that everything is okay, or maybe in some cases even leading them to certain rescues. And these underground bases have these beings or people within them to make sure that they're there to help out at the right time, at the right place. So, and what could have been again a huge disaster for everyone involved, now in this case has something involving almost something magical, something like straight out of a movie. Once again, I was reading somewhere it's almost could be something along the lines of supernatural as well. But yeah, whatever these entities are, they could be there in terms of these underground bases. There's another theory that there's a whole underground world as well, that inner earth type thing happening where there's another set of, I don't know, cultures or countries or whatever is the case, living deep within the earth, and then they come about at certain time periods. And in other cases, people are mentioning that they could be out of space, like some other type of time or space type people that are just there once again doing these things whenever they're needed. Interesting stuff, again, straight from the realm of sci-fi. You have to take all of this with a grain of salt, but once again, those miners, along with some of the other articles in newspapers, no less, were stating that that's what they saw. And there's again a theme of other type of similar miners being trapped situations, encountering similar things as well. So let me know what you guys and gals think about this story. Who was this mystery lumberjack? Is there truly something down there or somewhere on this earth that involves this type of strange cultures and so on, supernatural beings? Let me know what you guys and gals think. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.